All right, we ready? Everyone's all set? Thank you all so much for joining us here today as we kick off. My name's Jen Williams. I'm the Queensland Executive Director of the Property Council and host of today's event. And what a great opportunity it is for us to head down the green and gold runway together, a golden decade of opportunity for Brisbane. In starting the runway, it's wonderful to be here with so many partners. Today's event is being delivered in partnership with the Property Council, the Australian Government, the Queensland Government, Brisbane City Council, the Council of Mayors, Australian Olympic Committee and Paralympics Australia. And I think that is testament to the partnership that exists and that strong partnership that will continue over the next decade for Brisbane. These games cannot be delivered alone by a single party, so having political, business and sporting leaders here together in one room is a great way to kick off. The Brisbane 2032 Games will really see the transformation of the city, socially, economically, and in a placemaking way as well. So it's a delight to be here today with all of these partners as we head down the green and gold runway together. Now I will throw over to each of the event partners to say a couple of words, and then if the media do have further questions of any of the stakeholders, can you please hold them till the end? Thank you. I'd like to invite the Premier now to say a few words.
Thanks Jen. And hello Queensland, and what great news. Tomorrow marks 10 years until the opening ceremony will be held here in Brisbane, but will resonate right throughout Queensland. And as we all know, it sets us up not just for the next 10 years, but the 20 years that follow. This is going to be Queensland's time to shine. I'm really pleased we've put $100 million into improving our sporting fields right across Queensland in our schools, to make sure our children have that equal opportunity. And of course, yesterday we announced the Legacy Committee. This is a strong partnership. It's a partnership with all levels of government. 80% of our venues are already in existence, but we have the opportunity now to transform our state for the decades to come. I'm very pleased that the federal ministers here, Annika Wells, once again, great partnership in terms of funding, Ian Chesterman from the AOC, and of course the Paralympic Games, which will follow with Rebecca Frizzell. We know how important they are as well for this state. So the decade of opportunity, the green and gold runway, we're set, we're ready, and it's time for action. I'll hand over to the Federal Minister. Thanks. Thanks, Annika.
Thank you, Premier. It's good to be here with you all today as a very proud Queenslander and the new Federal Minister for Sport. Tomorrow is 10 days to go until the Brisbane 2032 Olympics and Paralympic Games. We have a brilliant decade ahead of us as sports fans, with World Cups in the basketball, the rugby and the football ahead of us, building along the green and gold runway to the biggest event of all, the Brisbane 2032 Games. And as a very proud Brisbane girl and Queenslander, I can't believe that I have the job of carriage of that through in the years to come, to make sure that we do the very best thing by the citizens of Brisbane, the people of Queensland and the athletes who will bring us the success that we all crave for the city that we love.
A lot of people aspire that are hosting the Olympics. A lot of cities aspire to have the best games ever. I think for Brisbane and South East Queensland, that's a given. What I'd like to see is the best legacy ever. The best legacy that an Olympic city has ever seen here in South East Queensland, here in Brisbane. That's what we should aspire to. We've got 10 years to go and we want to see big ideas being put forward. It's why we've released today our Inner Spark program. It's a program which encourages people to think big about the future opportunities and to think about the legacy opportunities. We will be judged not only on whether it's a great few weeks of sporting, we'll be judged on the legacy that is left behind, and I want to see that legacy being as positive as possible for Brisbane, for South East Queensland and for the state of Queensland and the Australian people. We can do it. We have the time to do it. We have great minds coming together. We have a great team that's been assembled. Now, from this point on, it's about getting together with everyone, putting the shoulder to the wheel and making sure we lock in those legacy benefits. And so 10 years to go, it's all about legacy. That'll be our future focus going forward. And that's what's really exciting about this opportunity.
Thanks everybody. It's really exciting to be here at the start of this 10-year runway into Brisbane 2032. What's really exciting for us is to appeal to the 8-year-olds, the 10-year-olds, the 12-year-olds, the 14-year-olds who are going to be at their very peak come Brisbane 2032. So our job now is to promote, have a go, get our youth out there, get them excited about the games, have them aspiring to be the next Ian Thorpe, Kathy Freeman, Jess Fox, Paddy Mills. It really, that's our motivation, is to make sure that we have an incredibly strong team to represent us come the games in 2032, and that definitely starts now. We need to make sure that we properly support the athletes between now and the games to make sure that we're at our best and giving Australia plenty to cheer about come Brisbane 2032. Thank you.
I'm very happy to. Good morning, everyone, or good afternoon. I am absolutely delighted to be representing Paralympics here today. I think one thing that can be said is that the success of Olympic Games is largely decided on the success of the Paralympics. And Sydney was considered the best ever Games until London in 2012, and we saw the inclusion of our Paralympians. Brisbane has the opportunity in 2032 to be remembered as the most accessible and inclusive history in Olympics Games, in Olympic history. And I, as a proud Queenslander, am looking forward to seeing that. Tomorrow, marking the start of the decade till 32, is a great day to encourage all our future Olympians and Paralympians to come and try, and for us to identify that awesome talent that exists out there. And if I can just finish this is our opportunity for the Paralympics and for the Olympics to drive societal change and to bring about inclusion for everybody. Thank you so much for having me, and I can't wait for the next decade.
Premier, Mr. Leverett today spoke about the need for shovels on the ground for some venues relatively soon. How far along are you in establishing the infrastructure body, and will that be internal of government or external?
As I said yesterday, I've had a meeting already with the Prime Minister about our joint collaboration, and I'll be having meetings with our Federal Minister as well about that. We have roughly 80 to 85% of the venues already exist, and a lot of planning is well underway.
What does a successful legacy look like?
I think that's going to be up to Queenslanders, but I think a successful legacy is not only just the transformation of our city and our state, but it's about preserving our lifestyle and actually projecting that lifestyle and what makes us unique in Queensland to the world. It is going to be the decade up to the Games and afterwards of trade investment. We are going to see headquarters moved here. We are going to see sporting bodies based here as well. We're already seeing creative industries setting up here and technological industries choosing Queensland as a home. So there is so much to benefit, and working with the council and working with the federal government, we will set out a blueprint which will set Queensland and Brisbane up for the future. Brisbane will be a world city.
Premier, out of all the ideas to revitalise and transform Queensland, is there anything that stands out in particular to you?
Oh, there's a lot, but central to this too, we want to see the river being part of it. I think, to have activities up and down the river, points of interest for people to see. We've already got, existing bridges. There'll be more bridges. There'll be landmarks. I mean, we want to showcase the city. But what is absolutely critical is the venues that we have and the new ones that we are building is going to create that long-term legacy for people to keep using, just like we did with the Commonwealth Games. And Rebecca represents the Gold Coast. The Gold Coast is also integral. So many events are being held down there, and we've seen great legacy from there where those buildings are being utilised by school groups today.
Well, Mayor, what do you think Brisbane will look like in 2032 and beyond?
Well, I mentioned the amazing legacy opportunities. We know that the pace of change is getting faster and faster, and Brisbane is the fastest growing capital city in Australia, at the heart of the fastest growing region in Australia. So Brisbane will continue to change rapidly, and this is the opportunity to make that positive change. Not negative change, not going backwards, but positive change. And so in my mind, what looks like a great legacy would be how we leverage the Games to solve some of the big challenges that our community is facing. How we get better transport, how we make housing more affordable and get housing supply online, how we deal with climate change and sustainability, and also how we incorporate our First Nations people into the Games opportunity. and also give them employment opportunities and business opportunities out of as well. They're the sort of things that will create a great legacy, but also I agree with the Premier, showcasing the river is going to be absolutely critical. It is a wonderful feature of our city, and you'll notice that a lot of the ideas in Inner Spark are focused around the river, and Brisbane wouldn't be the city it is today without the river. So a few things on my checklist. There's a lot of great ideas that have been put forward. We're encouraging people to have their say.
Well, there you said, sorry, today too, that there were some ideas that you weren't so keen on. What were they?
Look, I won't go into which ideas I like and which ideas I don't. Actually, I will. Look, removing the Riverside Expressway. The Premier just told me I would have to pay for that. Look, that's probably one that's not going to happen. But what I really would like to see is an increased focus on sustainability and dealing with the dual challenges of housing supply and affordability and environmental sustainability. I think those two can come together. Greener, more sustainable buildings, new opportunities to build homes in areas that currently need some revitalisation. These would be great opportunities for our city.
I think it's a great opportunity for everybody involved in the Olympic Games to have a 10-year runway. I mean, it's not something which is granted to most host cities, and so for everybody who's involved in the planning, the infrastructure, it gives them extra time, and for us from a sports point of view, it gives us a whole extra period to prepare our athletes, to get our athletes ready to be their best that they can be in 2032, and that's clearly our objective. We need a really strong home team in 2032 to make the most of the Games. Thank you.
Yeah, sure. Yeah, everyone else finished? We'll just do weather now. Yeah. Yeah. Look, I've been getting regular updates from the Minister for Emergency Services, and there was some flooding events that happened around Kingaroy, so we were following that up. Of course, Queenslanders should pay attention, especially the southeast, about not going onto the beaches or into the beaches this weekend. We're expecting very large waves, and of course, if it's flooded, forget it. So my message to Queenslanders is the same. Listen to the Bureau of Meteorology, and if those beaches are closing now, do not go into the water. It's just going to be very hazardous surf, and of course we're expecting rain. But for the information I've been received, it's not as severe as we were expecting yesterday. But anything can change. No, I don't. I have knowledge that there was a man that was missing, and if he has been located and he's deceased, that is tragic, and we'll have to look at what happened there before we comment any further.
I mean, research shows that the number of COVID cases increased 70% after state quarantine. Is there any thought to mandating masks at big events like the ECA or anything else?
People can use their own discretion, and if you look here, half the people are wearing masks and half aren't. I would be urging Queenslanders to wear masks indoors, especially where they cannot socially distance. Of course, if you're sitting there eating and drinking, remove your mask. We are going to see the hospitalisations increase. What we do know is, tragically, the people who are losing their lives are senior members of our community. The best thing you can do is to get that booster and to wear a mask. I don't think it's too much to ask people to put a mask on until the end of August or early September, when you're indoors, just until we get over this. If you wear your mask indoors, you are preventing or helping people stop the spread of that disease, and you could be saving someone's life. So I don't think it's too much to ask for the next couple of weeks. Why not mandate it? Well, we're not mandating because people have to. We trust people to use their personal responsibility and judge it. Where you can socially distance, you don't have to wear a mask. But if you're very crowded, a mask is a good idea.
I mean, last on the t-shirt and pay deal, does that set a precedent for other negotiations with public servants, and what effect will that have on budget?
Those negotiations are being dealt with by the Industrial Relations Minister and by the Treasurer, so you're best to put those questions to them. No, I'm not. I haven't been brought up to date on that. I'll check that out.
Why wasn't the tender for that Aspen was given?
I'll get the Minister to talk to you about that. Yeah.
Is it confusing for Queenslanders when the AMA will come out and urge state governments to mandate masks and the health advice of the state government to actually...
Yeah, but National Cabinet met, and National Cabinet I think is meeting every couple of weeks during this winter wave, and the advice for National Cabinet has not yet changed. So strongly urge to wear masks indoors. Okay. Thanks everyone. Happy 10 years to go till the Olympics. Yeah, tomorrow, but it's the eve. Yeah, happy birthday to